Hey, this will be a video chart on ticker symbol ICOR. We will take a look at the daily time frame. Before I get started, I would like to note to please check my disclaimer. With that being said, let's jump in and talk about some technicals here. Two things I want to start off with. The first being just the overall trend. This purple line here is a 50-day simple moving average, and if you're familiar with charts, you know that this is one of the longer term indicators that you use for trend analysis, and you can see that this is now getting a positive slope to it, whereas down here, it was still slowly sloping downwards. Now the reverse is true. It has started to slope upwards, so that's telling us that the overall trend is starting to shift into the bull's favor, so that's always a good thing. The other thing I want to talk about is just simply the potential of the price. What do I mean by the potential of the price? Where if you've been trading for a while, I'm sure you've seen it, where you have a big volume bar come into a stock, and then the price barely budges upwards or goes sideways, or worse yet, drops a little bit. With this one, with ICOR, you can tell that looking back in price history, looking at this day here, big volume came in, and it was a pretty wild day. Now this is important just because it shows that the price can move. I know it didn't close up there towards the top of it, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. I'm just saying that when big volume does come in, the price does have the capability and previous history to show us that it can move, and not only move but move quickly. So that's just the other thing to keep in mind, and something that I think gets overlooked a lot. But past history can be a great teacher. And when this big volume bar came in, the bulls really started running, and profit takers knocked it back down. But like I said, the point being, the potential and capability is there. So now looking at the current chart, let's just first start off with what seems to be the short-term and current level of support being right there at a penny. No surprise there, it's usually a technical level and a psychological level. So this was an area of resistance, but now that the price is back above it, it is a level of support, and you can see literally the past 3 days in a row have went down, and the bulls have held strong, holding this level as a support. So that is support area number one. Another area of support is this previous high from over here, and that is simply from this previous high back on January 24th. This level is at 009. Make that line a little bit thicker. And then the last static area of support, because you still do have moving averages right there. For example, that blue line, which is the 10-day, is going to be the James Bond level down here at 007. So I made that line thick because that's pretty important. The reason this one's important is that the price could still come down here, and if it found support and then headed back up, this set of lows would still be higher than this set, which would still be higher than this set. So when we drew our trend line, we would be able to connect these and draw an uptrend line, and that's the name of the game. We want uptrends, and by putting in higher lows, that's going to allow us to draw uptrend. So that's why I could still technically, drop down to this 007 James Bond level and still be okay. And really, it could drop down to 0056, and as long as it stays above this purple line, then the overall chart would still be in an uptrend, because we'd still be able to connect those lower lows and draw an uptrend line. But I know nobody would want to see it drop down that far. I'm just saying, technically speaking, it could do that. But so far so good, holding up here at a penny, and it seems like that's become the new solid level of support. But you do have these other levels of support below you. In terms of resistance levels, first one I'm going to start off with is right here at 0.012. You can see that out of 2 of the last 4 days, the price has gone up and hit its head right on that level. So this will be the initial level of resistance, and then after that, things really begin to thin out. Another potential speed bump, but I don't think it'll be much of one, right here at the high from the crazy day back, and this was at 0.0128. Again, I'm going to leave both these lines skinny red because with a nice increase in volume, I don't think these will put up much of a fight, but they are technically resistances, so I want to get them mapped out. And then 0.015 is going to be the resistance level that would really set it into basically blue sky breakout territory, because as I'll show here in just a second, when I scrunch up the chart, you can see that with a break of that, there's really nothing until way up there at 2, and then after 2 cents, there's nothing until, up in the 3s. Obviously one step at a time, but I did want to show that with a break of 0.015, the chart really thins out, and there's not much until up here in the 2s and 3s. So, lots of potential here, but first things first, let's first see if it can start to break through these initial levels, and then 0.015 is the biggie. So that is where the chart currently stands. Again, nice potential here as previous history has shown us. Nice to see that the trend has started to go in the Bulls' favor, so it'll be interesting to see how the rest of this week plays out. If there are any other questions on it, please let me know. If not, again, this was ICOR. Thanks for listening.